All right, traders, welcome back to the channel. You're here for the good content when it comes to AMC. You want to see the fundamental viewpoint, and you also want to get the technicals. So you came to your boy Tyler Wilson, and the motto here is I went to college for you. So that's what we're going to do on this video today. Cover the key technicals that made today such a good day, because the Lord knows today was a good day. Shout out Ice Cube, shout out Nappy Roots. So let's not waste any more time. Like, subscribe, do what you gotta do. Let's get to it.
I just said, look.
All right, so let's get to it. As you can see, we're gonna take a look at the volume, just zooming in there. You can see we had a pretty downhill slide going into the end of last week, and then we peaked up today around 300 mil. Now it's good that we're getting back to the upside, breaking those volume levels as well. But I want people to know this was in no way or form a covering of those options. Now, people keep telling me, Tyler, they covered those options, they covered those options, they covered those options. Now, I want to just take a second and think about something. First of all, I'm going to say with a grain of salt, most of you did not go to college. And I'm not saying that college makes me better than you, smarter than you, or anything. However, you do learn about risk management when you're in most of these classes. And so when you're sitting in there and you're talking about risk management, you're not going to cover positions that are already very risky 3 weeks previously. That just doesn't make sense. So people want to say that they've already covered these on the push that we originally had at $70, and that's very unlikely. And if you're saying that, I would really question that overall viewpoint, because if you look at something like GameStop, and that's really what these investors are looking at in the hopes of them getting pushed right back down. For example, on that Wednesday when we had that push, the following Thursday, the day after, we pushed all the way down almost below 40, and then we shot back up and then came right back down and hit around $36, a little bit below there, I believe, but it was in that range. So there's no reason for them to cover these options expiring June 18th, because there's so many in the money. And by some chance that they fall down and we held at $20, they would probably lose quite a bit of money, and it would really handcuff themselves to this trade. So usually what happens is a week before, or let's say AMC ran to $100, then they most likely would have covered those positions. But just the price action that we were getting and the amount of time we sat in those ranges, it didn't make sense for them to cover those. Now, I may be getting off on a little bit of a rabbit trail, but I needed to discuss that first, because I have a lot of people kind of attacking me saying, Tyler, they've already covered those, you're spreading FUD. Now, I do want to let it be known that we have no idea of knowing if they did or did not cover those. But I would say that the probability is on the side of them that they did not cover those yet, because if you look at last week as well, we held below $50 and we really got no move up as well. We kind of just had stagnation throughout the whole week. So if they were to cover those 400,000 options, the big chance we would have had to start seeing a spike, kind of like we're seeing right now. However, I do want to mention, I don't believe they've covered yet. We just have seen a small inflow of volume. I believe this is primarily to do with hype as well, and it's Monday, which one and one go together. This typically equals a pretty bullish Monday. Now, going into Tuesday and Wednesday, these are going to be our big days to see, can we really get that gamma squeeze? So I just want to reiterate, when it comes to the gamma squeeze, why I believe they have not covered those options yet. If you were going to cover those, you would have covered them last week, and they didn't cover them last week because there was still hope for the bears to push this stock down. However, we kind of kept trending for the past 2 weeks, sitting above 49. Absolutely incredible, beautiful ending to both weeks, and a beautiful start to this week, which, like I am calling it right now, it is D-Day for the hedgies, aka the Nazis. So let's talk about the chart. And I know this is either where I lose people or I really get people excited, so stay with me. So let's talk about how we opened. I mentioned in my previous videos that this right here was an incredible close, because not only did you break the trend, you also mounted the trend, and you're also mounting the VWAP, which are two recipes you need to get that bullish breakout. And it's proving that it happened. Now go watch the previous videos if you think I'm a liar. So that's what happened there. We pushed, and then we got a pretty big gap up, pushing up to about $60. Now, I did anticipate we'd get a push to 60. The rejection that we get, I did not quite anticipate, but I never imagine us to break a resistance on the first try. I always imagine we get a push up, we come back down a little bit, and then a break back up. Now, it looks like we're trying to get that push up, but we're still holding VWAP right there. Unless we gap down tomorrow, I see this continuing. I want that to be a pretty big focus. We're going to take a look at the OBV as well because it looks absolutely outstanding, but everything on the chart still pointing to a very bullish thesis. Now, I also want to show you the key support that we're sitting on right now, just so you can get a kind of idea of what I'm looking at in my head. You can see this was also 2 daily opens in the past, and it's not a coincidence that we're now holding there right now. So as you look right here, you can zoom in and see on that VWAP as well, you're now holding that red line, which was in fact daily opens from previous weeks when we had a lot of strength and a lot of volume. Now, like I said, history tends to repeat itself, and we got pushed down to the VWAP, came back up, came back down a little bit, and I believe we're gonna start trending and get another breakout. Now, when we take a look at the OBV, in my opinion, the OBV is preceding the movement on the chart. I mentioned this again on Friday, Thursday, and I believe Saturday as well. So you can see that we are now getting the test of that SR level. Now, if you don't know, I talk about it all the time, SR, support and resistance. If you have a support and if you break below it, it'll then become a resistance when you come back up and test it. If it's a resistance, you break through it, it then becomes a support when you come back down to test it again. You might get a bounce off that support. That's the easiest way to describe it. Now, you also hear me say, typically you do not get these double tops. You haven't even had a double top yet, so there's nothing to be concerned about. In my opinion here, you're getting a flag on the OBV, and you're going to start pushing back to the upside. I also want to point something out pretty big here. You're going to get a massive push on the last few days on the OBV, but in my opinion, the price isn't really showing as much of a push as the OBV is showing. The OBV is typically a really big indicator. Right here, this was the push that we had to $70 from about $35. You can see this is about half the size, but in my opinion, I think we only pushed about $6-7 today. So you can see that I believe the momentum is there. It's building up. The pressure is building on this trade, and I don't think it's hit its level yet. I don't think we've started to see that movement. It's also worth noting, Adam Aaron can't really cuck us this time. He can't really push us down or sell any shares on the move up. That's a very important factor. However, if he finds a way to do it, Adam, we're going to have problems. So looking at AMC, I keep saying it. I'm as bullish as I've ever been. The chart continues to be primed. It continues to show a lot of strength on the back end as well with the OBV. You're seeing key level breaks on the support and resistance on the actual candles. And then to top it off, you have the gamma squeeze potentially happening this week. Now, if we can continue to push going into Wednesday, I believe that's going to be the end-all, be-all date for AMC to get that gamma squeeze. If you start to push above 60 and holding above 60, I believe we start to see a really nice run up. Now, people are going to say, Tyler, do you see 100, 200, 300? It's impossible to say. I can't give exact targets, but I do believe $100 would be in the works if you start to get that gamma squeeze. That's going to be the very important factor. Tuesday is going to be a very important day. Tomorrow, that's going to be probably the biggest day of the week, because if we can hold these levels and get another push, in my opinion, Wednesday's just a ticking time bomb. And let me tell you something. I'll be sitting here with my watch counting the seconds until we go to the moon. That's going to wrap the video up for today, guys. Like, subscribe, do what you got to do. We'll be live later on tonight, so make sure you check us out there. Have a good one. Namaste.